Hi, and welcome to Access Chat. We're delighted to have with us today Kiran Shah. Kiran is also known as Little Kiran. He's actor, stuntman, polymath, does loads of amazing things. And Kiran's actually been in a little movie you might have heard of, which is called Star Wars: The Force Awakens. So, Kiran, great to have you here. Delighted that we could overcome our small technical difficulties and have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a bit about your background, how you got into acting, and how you came to be doing what you're doing today?
It started from Kenya because I used to take off the mannerisms of my uncles when I was 7 years old. That was when I made up my mind that I was going to become an actor. And when I got to London when I was 12, did my studies, and by the time I was 17, I started working with a guy called Stone Media Master. He had a theatre company called Red Buddha, a French Japanese theatre company that came over from Japan into London. And I joined them, learned about mime, mask, movement from that guy, and the rest is history now.
And you've worked in an awful lot of movies. You've done everything from Lord of the Rings to some of the Raiders of the Lost Ark movies. Is that correct?
Yeah,
And you also you did a lot of the Narnia Chronicles of Narnia.
yep.
Uh,
Chronicle of Narnia's Legend, Dark Crystal. I mean, the list will go on, and we'll be here all night.
yeah, 80 plus films. Okay, so it's a lot. I remember Dark Crystal. That was part of my childhood. I think that mine must have been about 11 when that came out.
Yeah, probably, because I mean, that was the very, very unique movie by itself. No human actors, just puppets.
Yes.
Fantasy.
Yeah,
It's,
that was an interesting movie.
yeah.
So so you started off doing comedy and skits and stuff like that,
Mm.
but you also do stunts.
Yeah,
So
well, I mean, it was really funny. I never ever planned to become a stuntman. It was just that I was at the right place at the right time in my first movie. I was standing in for a small girl, and a stunt coordinator called Bob Anderson spotted me on set. He went, "How would you like to become a stuntman?" And it started from there.
okay, and so I know that's quite a risky job. I know a friend of the family is also a stuntman, and he's broken all kinds of bits of himself. Um, have you ever got injured in the course of working?
Yes, I have. I mean, the biggest one was on the Lord of the Rings. We were doing the last movie pickups of the last month, and I came off the horse very badly. And I broke my back, or rather, my vertebra number two was fractured.
Oh dear.
So that was a really bad one. I was being braced and crutches for about 3 months, and I'm still going back into stunts after that. Yeah, you break your bones, and but as soon as they heal, you go back.
And I'm assuming that it's the adrenaline and the enjoyment of the working environment as much as anything else that draws you back. So I know Antonio's got a question. I won't hog the questions. Antonio?
Yeah, thank you for accepting the challenge and being here with us. I'm sure that over that period of time of your career, you were able to see a lot of changes in technology and the way our movies are being done. Is anything? Can you explain us how it was done before, and what is the impact of technology in the way how those movies are being done today?
Technology has really, really moved. I mean, if you look at motion capture, motion control, then digitally what we can do is always, it keeps on changing. When I first got involved with motion capture, that was way back in 1990s, and in motion capture. At that time, we could only capture one person at a time. Then we went to two people at a time, and slowly started building up. And now we can capture a lot of people together in one go. Because we have moved so far back, so far forward in technology, sorry. And what has happened is that CGI and everything helps. Everything being used, and everything used in combination together, the old school and what's happening now. And that makes a very, very fantastic movie. Like when you take The Force Awakens, we went back into being inside the costumes to be a creature. And then on top of that, you enhance that creature digitally a little bit here and there. So it becomes really, really something different. But it's a combination of the old school and the new technology is what's selling now.
That's very interesting. Do you spend more time preparing yourself to the movie, or with the characterization of the character, or actually acting? Where do you spend more of the time?
Most of my time, I mean, for Kino Break, for Narnia, I spend more time on my character, or preparation for my character on that one. For Force Awakens, because I'm doing creatures. Apart from playing Teedo, I do another 3 or 4 different creatures right throughout the movie. So the idea is that when you do creature work, and you got to think, okay, how do I get out of the human form? Because if you think about creatures, animals, they all move differently and not upright like we do. So you got to think about these things when you think, okay, I can use part of that animal movement there, or I can use a mannerism coming from different areas. You start adding them together to build a movement creature where people will buy that creature, that creature is alive and not somebody inside making him move with mannerisms or anything like that. I mean, that's when I have to do that. That's when most of my energy, my work will go into thinking about how can I make that particular character, a creature, very different from the human.
That's interesting. Deborah, I have a question.
Yes, Kiran, it was wonderful to be with you when you went home to Kenya, and I got to watch you on television and radio and newspaper, and the people in Kenya, they just went crazy seeing, somebody born in their country and being so successful. The question that I have for you is, I know that when you were born and your parents realized that you were a little person, and they weren't sure, what value you were really, what job were you going to do? What was, could you work? And one thing I think you have the opportunity to do with all of the amazing work that you've done is showing people with disabilities, what can be done, especially I know that you have been you're in the Guinness World of Records as the smallest stuntman, and your career is just amazing. So you really set the bar very high for yourself, and I was just wondering if you could talk a little bit about that.
Well, I mean, the thing is, in my lifetime, I've seen dances with disabled people as well. In the past, even about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, if you are disabled, then people, they can't work, they can't do this, they can't do that. But over the years, things have changed. The technology has helped as well. But people can work. I mean, I never believed myself to be a disabled. Because I can move, I can run, I can walk, I can do a lot of things. Okay, I can't reach, say the light switch on the wall that could be way high up there. But then I learned to jump up and, click the switch on and off. And I learned things like that, and that's why I never ever thought that I would be on the disabled list until I met you in Kenya. And your first words were to me after meeting me were, so you are on the disabled list. And I was like going, what? Sorry, what do you mean I'm on the disabled list? And you explained to me that because of my height. Okay, I am very flexible, I can move. But there are a lot of other little people who can't move, they struggle walking and stuff like that. I never considered that as a disability, but I understand that. And for that, it taught me a very good lessons as well by being with you and you guys over there. That disability is very, very important thing to know about, where people should respect people for being people, not for being disabled or for whatever difficulty they've got. People should always try to understand that even a disabled person has got something to give. Maybe they can physically give something, but mentally or creatively or something like that, they would be brilliant. But what we in the world, what we're going to think about is different disability can be used in different way to make use in a good way of those people in that particular area where they can do a lot more than just saying, oh, forget about them, let's have pity on them and let's give them money and let them live with that money rather than let them earn that money. It's the best way to go. And that was the idea that you put into my mind. And yes, that disabled people should be made aware that they should be able to earn their way into their life.
Well, that's a great example that you are giving us. But how do you think your career, your life, and your successes can inspire others in terms about their possibilities, about what they can do?
Well, I mean, at the moment, there are so many possibilities at the moment. I mean, Star Wars at the moment have been using disabled people wherever they can. And I'm seeing that happening in quite a lot of other movies as well. In last few years, things are changing in the movie industry, and I'm really pleased to say that disabled people are being used not in front of the camera, but they can be used as well behind the cameras as well. And we can change a lot of things, like the guy in Canada have set up the disability network and so on, which they made me a spokesperson for them, and I'm proud to say that these people are changing the world for disabled people, and I think in a few years' time, hopefully, things will stabilize for everybody to become equal.
I certainly hope so, and it's what we're here and what we're working for. So you said there's a lot of stuff going on with people with disabilities behind the camera. We had a discussion with Kurt Yeager probably about 4 or 5 months back, and he's a disabled actor he's an amputee, and Kurt was talking about getting more people with disabilities in front of camera, but not playing a role of a person with a disability, but just playing roles. So I think that's a really important distinction.
Yeah.
Do you see that coming closer to happening more frequently? Because I know it happens, but it's still early days.
It's early days at the moment, but I can see in the future that a disabled actor will be used for his disability, but for his character, what he can bring into character. I think that's what people are aiming for at the moment, And like you say, it's very early days, and I would love to see more disabled people being used as, different characters. They could be good villains, they could be bad, you know, good guys, bad guys. They could be doctors, lawyers, whatever the character can be. We should start using them a lot more. I think it's happening, but it's happening quite slowly at the moment. But in the future, I hope that we will keep continuing the process and get more disabled people into the industry as well. But apart from our own industry, there are a lot of other industries as well, and a lot of other occupations like doctors and lawyers, that we need to see more disabled people going in those areas as well.
Oh yeah, I agree, and some of the stuff that we do as our day jobs is providing the facilities and the help and the advice to make it possible to and make it easier to employ people with disabilities, because actually, and remove the fear, and part of what Access Chat is doing is removing the myth, effectively, that it's not possible to employ people with disabilities, or that it's hard or whatever, because actually it's not that hard and it's not that expensive, and people have got a lot to give. Deborah, I know you've got another question, and you're on mute, by the way.
Unmute. Kiran, I loved being with you and getting to hear all of the amazing stories that you told. And you told me a story once, and now I'm forgetting if it was Steven Spielberg or George Lucas that said that when they were making The Hobbit, you were the Hobbit to them. And I know that there are other actors that are little people all over the world, but the reason why you have been in so many films and commercials is because, as you said earlier, you embrace the character. You know that you don't want to be seen just as somebody in a costume. You want to be seen as that creature, for example. Sure. And I was just wondering if you'd just elaborate more on that, because we are all starstruck by your career. And I've seen the videos where you're holding on and walking on a plane, an airplane wing, which, by the way, is very dangerous, Kiran. You shouldn't do that.
No, that was walking. It was for fun. But no, going back to your question about disability and characters, one of the things I hate is when people start using their disability to get work. There's a disadvantage. There could be advantage to that, yes. It will get you somewhere, something. But the disadvantage is that you are not going to move forward. Because what disabled people will have to learn as well is that they're going to learn. I mean, if they are going to become actors, then they're going to learn to become a proper actor and learn to create characters. If they are not going to do, some of the disabled people will be very, very good to be creatures, definitely amputees or whatever, in really good way, where they can get in a costume, use their disability to change from the human form into something different. That could create a really, really good creatures for people with disability. So not only think about just think, oh, I want to be an actor and I want to be a character actor and that's it, nothing more. Yes, there's so many other opportunities. I don't see why not. If you are strong enough and if you are capable enough, but still a disabled person can become a stuntman if they are willing to give a go to it. I mean, in London, I know that to become a stuntman, you need 6 different qualifications, and I'm pretty sure that quite a lot of disabled people can get into martial arts, can get into swimming, high diving, a lot of things. Or probably they shouldn't even think about that. I mean, there are so many options in this industry than to become a camera operator. I mean, even if you're in a wheelchair, it's not going to stop you holding a camera on your shoulder or in front of you or wherever, and still do it. So, disabled people can be useful in a lot of areas and a lot of things. And they can be treated like, an ordinary person. Don't have to be, make something special for them because they are disabled.
Right,
Uh,
right.
and then
So, Kieran, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
no, go for it.
Well, when you think back on your career, because I know you have been an actor in front of the camera, you've been a stuntman, you've just had a really amazing career. When you think back on your career, what is some of the work that you're most proud of?
Quite a lot of stunts work that I've done, I've been very, very proud of because um, in London, especially with the stunt coordinators over here, they never stopped me doing a stunt. In fact, they always encouraged me to go, further and further and further. I've been set on fire. Half of my body has been on body burns. I've done high dives, high falls from 70 feet high onto an airbag. I've done stair falls and so many other things. Um, I'm proud of what I've done in stunt wise. Then creature work, I've used my height really, really well. Plus, I use my ability, my flexibility of my body to get into different stance, different body shapes, and different movements. And just not, a little person trying to be inside something, trying to make it work, not trying to make it very different from the way I will walk myself, or I'll change my stance and everything. It's the ability to do all those things does help a lot, other than just using your height or your disability or even your normality to get, to get. If you're going to use that, then you are going to get to a certain distance. After that, no, you won't. So you need to become and learn to go far as well. Can you hear me?
Ah, yeah, that's all right. My fault. I muted. You were talking about your flexibility. Do you do any special training to make sure that you maintain your flexibility and maintain your physique? Because obviously the work that you do is quite physically demanding.
Yeah, I had to be fit. That's one of the priority. Second thing is I do a lot of when I started out in my mask and movements. Uh, Started learning about a little bit of yoga movements and all that. And learning to isolate the body and stretches and stuff like that. The more you do them, the better your body becomes. It can adapt to any stance. It can adapt to anything. So to create flexibility, yes, you have to work at it. I mean, I'm not as flexible as what I used to be when I was younger, but I can still do quite a lot. Now I can get into different positions by still isolating my body. I can literally isolate my body, my chest, and everything. And if you keep doing that every day, or I don't even have to do it every day now, but I still do it now and again, and just to keep that body moving. So you always go be at top of your game. You always go make sure that whatever tool you are using, that tool, whether it's your body or whether it can be a musical instrument, you gotta keep practicing. You gotta keep practicing all the time. You can't relax. You can't become laid back and go, oh, well, I can do it now. No, you still got to keep going all the time.
Yeah, I think that's very true. We don't get anywhere without effort. So I know the movie business is quite hush hush, but are there any projects you've got up and coming that you can tell us about that you're excited about, or that you could hint about?
Well, I'll let you wait and see what's happening. It's only beginning of the year. There are a couple of projects that my name is going into. I think I can't really talk about or say anything about it at the moment. But yeah, things are happening. I've got another movie coming out next year where I did the stunt. It was really brilliant. I really enjoyed it. I can't name the movie at the moment. But when that movie comes out, I'm going to shout at the top of my voice, "I did that movie!" But now, there are projects I'm working on and my name is Connie, but I can't talk about them at the moment.
Okay. So, and can you tell us a little bit more about the work you do for the Dwarfism Association in Kenya?
Well, it was in Kenya. The problem was that the families were ashamed of the little people. They would not let them out. If for a lot of little people have not studied or got education, and the people who have got education, who got degrees or masters, and they found work, they found out that they have been treated like kids rather than an adult. Which is not really a good idea because the whole point is, I mean, the perfect example was when I went on Lord of the Rings and I had a team of little people and they tell the whole production that no, you're going to treat these people like an adults. If you treat them like the kids, then they are going to behave like kids, and and then you're going to have problems. And what happened in Kenya? What happened in Kenya is that I went out there to make that awareness that you please do not treat us like kids. Do not, uh, you know, just treat us like adults and let us become adults. Let us behave like adults rather than being treated like kids. And go basically went out there to make awareness to families, to plead with the families rather out in Kenya to say, look, be proud of your little people. Be proud and let them, give them freedom. If my parents hadn't given me the freedom I wanted, I don't think I would be here sitting to you guys today talking. What I'm trying to say is that these people do need that freedom so that they can become individual, they can become their own personalities, and they can make their own mark on the world or whatever they want to do. And that's why I went to Kenya to make that awareness.
Okay. So previously you talked about the fact that you'd not considered yourself to be disabled, and that's the same. That was the same for me with dyslexia. I don't consider myself to be disabled. It's classed as a disability, but I don't consider myself to be disabled. I'm different, but I'm not in my mind disabled. But you've also talked about just now the fact that people treat little people like children. Dwarfism is considered to be, people look at people with dwarfism and they infantilize them. So you still had to face head on the social stigma, and so I guess it's more about addressing those kind of issues that you can really come to the fore with the fact that you've got a high profile.
Well, I mean, what I tend to do whenever I meet people, new people on set, remember, and one of the things I always learn, people go, you're little, and they will try to pat you on the head and things like that. Now, I will, I don't like, could you please don't pat me on my head, or please don't pick me up. And once I explain why, they go, okay, fine. And to offset that, in a good way, is that if they are taking a Mickey out of me, and I let them do that, I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm not going to go, why are you taking Mickey out of me? Or I'm not going to walk away from them. But what I'll start is to counter that. I'll start taking Mickey out of myself in front of them and make them feel relaxed. And the next thing I know is that they're treating me like an adult because they are thinking, okay, if he can make fun of himself, then we should be, or they look at me differently from that point onwards. Then they go, he's not going to get offended by anything we say. We can't offend him. And even if we take Mickey out of him, he's going to join us. because we can't really do anything with it. 'Cause automatically things changes, the relationship between the people and you changes. There's that moment where you cross that line, very nasty. That's when you start walking away. But as long as that line hasn't been crossed and you go with it, then people will suddenly realize that no, there's nothing wrong with him. And they will come to understand you better, I think, rather than trying to get defensive about your height or your disability or whatever you got. Once people become defensive, that's when the other party will go, we don't like this, because they're going to, make more fun of you and will cross the line. And to stop people crossing the line is the best way that you have to join in the fun with them and keep that line there and do not get it crossed over.
Yeah, I think you've got to have that kind of self-deprecating sense of humour. It's really helpful. We've reached the end of our half hour. It's been fascinating. Thank you very much for persevering with us. Really looking forward to you joining us tomorrow for the Twitter chat. Brilliant. Thank you very much, Kiran Shah.
My pleasure. Thank you
Kiran.
for having me on the show. Thank you, Deborah, Neil, and Anthony. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Kiran.